All right, I've been at Smith Transport here a little bit now. I want to talk about 3 things that I love about this company so far and things that you might be interested too. Let's talk about it. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about, like I said, 3 things that I love here at Smith Transport. For the short time I've been here, I think these are good things. I think they are definitely worth discussing and talking about. So let's get into it. Just came out to sleep for a little bit. I was hanging out, but I decided to shoot a video. Shout out to my boy Wild Beard over here, watching him on YouTube. If you guys don't watch him, you should check him out. He does refrigerated stuff, but overall just great trucking YouTube content if you want to check that out. Shameless plug. So yeah, in this video we're going to be talking about my boy Dennis Rodman and the run that he had with the late 90s Chicago Bulls, and how if Jerry Krause and Phil Jackson didn't break up the team, basically, Pippen, Rodman, and Jordan, that they just could, who knows how many, I'm just kidding, guys, I'm not going to talk about that. Alright, so 3 things I love about Smith Transport. Let's talk about it. Number 1, easy, important, should be important. Let me start, before I even dive into it, let me start by saying these are 3 things that I love. This isn't necessarily going to apply to you. If you like different things about different companies, not a problem at all, but this is the stuff that I love, and I feel that's important to talk about a little bit here in this video. So let's just dive into those 3 things that I mentioned before. So easy. Number 1, Smith Transport, obviously under the Heartland Express umbrella. If you don't know, a couple of years ago, I think 2 years ago, Smith Transport was bought by Heartland Express for an undisclosed, not undisclosed, but a crazy, I think it's like $175 million or whatever. Good on Mr. Smith, man. Over 40 years in business, built this thing from the ground up, and then sold it for like $175 million. I think that's what the amount was. I really don't know. But good for him. Anyway, love that. Happy for him. Go enjoy that loot, dog. Anyway, number 1. Actually, we'll start with number 3. We'll start at 3. We'll go down to 1. Number 1 being my most favorite thing. Number 3 being my least favorite thing, I guess, if you want to put it that way. Anyway, doesn't matter. Being under a mega carrier umbrella here at Smith, so we only keep our equipment 36 months or 3 years. So number 3 on this list is going to be the equipment. It's always going to be newer. The equipment is always going to be newer. 36 months, like I said, 3 years old at the most. They're going to turn them in, they're going to get rid of them, get a new truck, whatever. So these trucks, if you come over here, you're always going to have something newer. Nice amenities in these trucks. I just made a equipment tour video specifically talking about the trucks and how they kind of have them spec'd and what mine looks like and all that. So if you're interested in something like that, feel free to go check out that video. Just posted it. I'll give you a more in-depth look. But yeah, definitely the amenities in these trucks, super nice. The way they got them spec'd, everything a driver would want. Plenty of creature comforts. You got fridge, inverters, leather seats, digital dash, no driver camera as well. Definitely worth mentioning. They have no driver camera, just an outward facing camera. You got push button 5th wheel release over here on the dashboard. Newer trailers. You know, I don't have any complaints in the, you know, equipment department as far as trailers are concerned. These trucks are definitely offer plenty of storage. So if you have a ton of junk with you, you stay out, you're an OTR guy, like stay out a while, has plenty of stuff to bring. You got plenty of storage options in these trucks, including under the bunk. Now, it's worth mentioning that these trucks do have the, what's it called? Webasto bunk heater. So it's like the little diesel powered bunk heater underneath there, but otherwise they're pretty wide open. So if you have, like, I don't know, brooms or, you know, all kind of junk that you just like to store underneath there. Underneath the bunk, you'll definitely have plenty of options there. And another little perk I talked about in my equipment tour video was the little sleeper side door on the driver's side. So like if you're putting up your bedding, if you have a lot of luggage, groceries, case of water, you don't have to physically carry stuff up like through, you don't have to, like, you know, open the driver's side door, put it up on the seat, and then climb in and slide over and do it all that. You could just kind of open the door on the sleeper side, on the driver's side, the little sleeper side door, whatever you call it thing, and just put everything in. Boom, done. Great. So that's number 3. Number 2, the loads and the freight here at Smith Transport. So again, going back to the Heartland thing, this isn't necessarily tied in with that, but it is. I'll explain what I mean here in a minute. So Smith Transport has been in business for over 40 years, guys. 40 years. They have lots of long-standing customers and lots of consistent freight, as far as, like, you know, you're gonna see a lot of the same customers frequently, but there are a lot of bigger names. They have like Home Depot, Smuckers, Procter & Gamble, I mean, you name it. There's a ton. It's even too much to list. There's a lot of familiar names on there. You'll be kind of going to the same places all the time. You know, you get to know these places. A lot of the stuff too, with a lot of those consistent customers, you're gonna have a ton of drop and hook freight here. Now, I'm gonna quote you and say 90% of the stuff that we do here is drop and hook, but I'm gonna under promise and over deliver like my recruiter Dave did. He's gonna say, you know, he's gonna tell you on the phone, he said, hey, you know, it's a little over 90% drop and hook, but I'm just gonna tell you 90, and I'm gonna under promise and over deliver. So we have a ton of drop and hook customer freight here, Smith Transport. We do zero brokered freight. Zero brokered freight here at Smith. You heard it right. No load boards, no sitting and waiting, none of that. We don't, no. Drop and hook, over 90% drop and hook, zero brokered freight, Smith Transport. Like Mr. Gack told us in orientation class, again with the freight, we do a lot. We do everything that Smith Transport does is areas east of I-35. So like imagine a line, if you're not familiar with what I-35 is, imagine a line that goes down from like Minneapolis down to like Dallas, and everything east of that in the United States, the eastern half of the United States. We do everything in that area. Not so much Florida. We don't do a ton in Florida. I think Heartland kind of covers that, being under that umbrella, but everything else we basically cover. So if you live, we operate in that area. That's where a lot of the stuff is. And guess what? We haul stuff. You know, especially in the Northeast. We do a ton of stuff in the Northeast as well. But we have a good concentration of stuff in the Northeast, but we service everywhere east of I-35. We have tons of quantity and density in that operating area. So chances are if you live there, you want to work there, you're familiar with working there, great. And finally, number 1 on this list, my favorite thing about being at Smith Transport so far, definitely stands out above and beyond everything else. The other 2 things I mentioned were great, but this is spectacular. My favorite thing about Smith Transport so far is the culture. And what do I mean by that? You're like, Mike, what the hell are you talking about? Culture? What is that? What do you mean by that? Let me elaborate. So Smith Transport, like I mentioned, has been in business for over 40 years. So they kind of have an old school vibe. Like they, you know, over 40 years ago when Mr. Smith started this company, this was a driver's driver. He was a man's man. It spoke lengths about his character, and the way that he spec'd his trucks and the guys that he hired. Most of them are still there, whether they be senior drivers or now instructors or hybrid of both. Like, we have a ton of long tenured drivers. Like Mr. Mike told us in orientation, Smith hires to retire drivers. That's their goal. That's what they want to do, and that's part of their culture. It's very old school, so they look like everybody knows them for having like the black Peterbilts and the hood trucks, and they used to have Coronados with the 12 gauge polished bumpers and Alcoa wheels and this, that, chicken lights, the whole nine. These drivers spec trucks. Mr. Mike also told us in orientation, like, they were known for having like working class show trucks. I mean, they were of that spec. And, you know, under the Heartland umbrella, some of that may have gone away, but the reputation stays the same. People have been blowing up my comments talking about things like that. You know, Smith Transport, their, you know, black Peterbilts, you know, the whole nine. That's, you know, old school in a nutshell. I mean, I'm not going to do it any justice because I haven't been here that long, but anybody, a long tenure driver at Smith, they're going to tell you the exact same thing. Like, it just, that's their reputation. They're very professional, but they definitely take pride in their ride, and, you know, the culture starts at the top, and, you know, it just shows. It shows. They have an open door policy here at Smith Transport. I mean, you'll probably hear that at a lot of different companies, but I can say for sure that, you know, in orientation, that is true. Everybody's going to give you their business card. You know, they're going to talk to you. They're going to introduce themselves to you. So there's no, like, unknown, I guess, if you want to put it in that aspect. Everybody here is very transparent. They're super friendly, super nice. They're going to come in, they're going to shake your hand, they're going to look you square in the eye, and they're going to tell you, hey, thanks for coming to Smith. We know you have plenty of options out there as far as trucking companies, but we're glad that you chose to work with us. And that spoke likes about their character to me personally. You know, just, again, company culture, very important. You know, when you're signing up with an employer, you know, you might not want it to be it might not need to be your forever home, but the fact that they go above and beyond to try and make it your forever home is all that I need to know. Again, about speaking lengths about their character and their culture, how it comes down from the top. When you're in orientation, like I kind of just mentioned, I did have the opportunity to meet with the Vice President and President of Operations, the Director of Safety, and also the CEO himself of Smith Transport. All those guys came down, they have lunch with you, and they do like a little bit of a Q&A session. They answered all your questions, and again, you know, what spoke lengths to me is, like, you know, at the end, you know, when all the questions and everything has been answered, and everybody's feeling satisfied and having a better understanding of what they're going to be getting themselves into in orientation, all those people, they'll walk around, you know, they'll chit-chat with you a little bit, but they will look you square in the eye, they will shake your hand, they say, hey, thanks for coming to Smith. And that, very important to me. You know, it's a little thing like that may not mean much when you hear it, but like when you're there, you know, it's very reassuring. You're like, okay, this is probably a good decision. These people seem to be very professional, business-like. You know, it goes without saying, but it's not personal. You're taking a job. This is it's business. It's business. That's what it is. But those personal touches kind of set them above the norm in this industry. We all know that there's a ton of turnover in this industry. I don't know if it's a generational thing or if it's an employer thing, or, you know, recruiters lie to you or whatever. You can point the finger a million different ways, but to hear things said to you like that, you know, it sounds redundant and corny, but to actually come into orientation class and then see it firsthand, and you're like, wow, okay, so that what they actually said is meaningful. They stand behind what they say. Getting back to orientation a little bit under this culture tab, my #1 favorite thing. I'm happy to report so far, everything is what they said it was gonna be like with the recruiter and an orientation. Like, they kept it a buck. They give it to you straight. They're gonna tell you exactly what it's gonna be like. And then you meet with your DM. I got a chance to meet my DM. She's a wonderful lady. Shout out to Sharon down in Atlanta. Basically, you just gotta have your expectations meet. You say, hey, like, you know, they'll ask you, hey, do you like to run days? Do you like to run nights? Or you kind of open to two? And I was like, well, me personally, I kind of like to run days. You know, I don't mind, you know, working out of my normal hours of operation sometimes, like if I have to get up early or work later, whatever, but typically just to, you know, keep up with my sleep schedule and rhythm, I like to run days and sleep on nights. That's just me. If that's not you, great. You have a lot more availability to do loads or whatever else. You can flip-flop, whatever. Me personally, that's not me. But yeah, I'm just happy to report so far everything is what they said it is. Simple as that. Again, they've been in business over 40 years. Guys, if you're in business for almost half a century, you know, you got to be doing some things right. Whether it be, you know, delivering, we provide a service, all right? We don't sell physical things here at Smith Transport. We provide a service for bringing people their shit. So somebody wants something brought to them, we're the guys in the middle that bring it to them. So it's very important that we are delivering on time and we have set schedules and, you know, we stick to them. That's simple. So these guys being in business almost half a century now, you know, they must be doing something right. It's very important that we continue to uphold that as new employees here at Smith. And if you're thinking about coming over here, this is the standard. You know, they're going to hold you to that standard. Now, that's not to say that, you know, these are impossible schedules to hit, because they're not. Usually, it's the opposite. You have wide open windows on both ends as far as pickups and deliveries. So it's not super strict where you're going to run 750 miles in a day. I mean, you can if you want. That's great. But I have been seeing a ton of just windows on both ends that aren't super strict. You have to get here at 7:30 and you have to, you know, run this, and it has to be there 7:30 tomorrow morning. It's just not there. I mean, it's just, some places are like that, and I understand why. I'm not new to that at all, but I'm just being transparent. I want everybody's expectations and understanding to, this is what it's like over here, at least for me, at least so far. Simple as that. With all that being said, guys, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. I just kind of wanted to make a quick video here. 3 of my favorite things that I love about Smith Transport so far. Again, I haven't been here super long, but I feel like it's important to talk about these things for potential new people coming over. These are things that are important to me, but I would also tell everybody that is thinking about coming over here to Smith, don't just watch my video and be like, well, everything is what he said and that's it, so I'm just gonna go to Smith because he said that it's gonna be great, and that's that. I invite everybody to do their own research. If you have specific things to you that are important to you, that a company needs to check your boxes as far as the things that you need to have in your, you know, in your next trucking job, whether it be like home time because you have a ton of responsibilities, or, you know, I want to run these certain miles per week to make this X amount a week. You know, whatever your stipulations are, that's fine. Everybody's different than me, but I feel like it's important to be transparent about these things that are important to me, to shine a light, to have a second opinion on something like that. But I definitely 100% recommend everybody do their own research, guys. Go on the website, read everything, frequently ask questions, or better yet, call a recruiter. We have guys and gals in the recruitment department that would be happy to assist you. And it's not like they're incentivized monetarily to help you. I believe all of our recruitment team is salary, so they get paid the same no matter what. So if you don't decide to come to Smith, fine, not a problem. But if you do decide to come over here, great. But it's not going to affect the recruiters specifically monetarily, as far as, you know, just trying to get people, warm bodies in the door. It's not how it is here. Go on the website, read it for yourself, figure it out. I think I covered everything. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end, like, share, comment, questions, comments, concerns, down into the comments down below. Give me some ideas for some other videos. If you're interested in learning more about Smith, drop them in the comments down below. Tell me what you would want to see. I'm thinking about doing maybe like a pay related video, but I want to get some checks going here so I can maybe do like an average of some or something. That's just some ideas I'm having. Yeah, but I want to get this going. I've had a ton of traffic on these Smith related videos, so I'm gonna keep them coming. That's what the audience wants. That's what the audience is gonna get. Shout out to all my new subscribers. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it. And all my returning guys, salute. I see you too. But yeah, with all that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that shit, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.